my journey to Edo State. The third and the most important part is Edo of our dreams, building a sustainable future. Yes, I've been introduced as I went to Ife, but before Ife, I went to Government College Ibadan. And Government College Ibadan is the school of Shoyinka, is the school of several other people, including the previous Oba of Benin. Important school, important culture, teaches you to act in a particular way all your life. And when you see GCI dudes, you know they are GCI dudes. My business started 30 years ago, and when I teach at the business school on family governance, they always ask me, are you generation 1? I said, not really. Are you generation 2? Not really. I'm like generation 1.5, in between, because my mom was actually doing one line of the business before I started. So that's why I call myself generation in between. And it's important because like 6 months ago, my 28-year-old daughter asked me, Dad, you are not even that smart. You didn't start the business. Yes, I didn't, but at least I've been at it for 30 years. It will be your turn one day. The period I started the business was very similar to what we have in Nigeria today. And that's what I want people here. The period I started the business was similar to what we have in Nigeria today. In 1991, what was happening? Acute dollar scarcity. Foreign investors were leaving. Which one should be ready? Okay. Foreign companies were leaving Nigeria on the back of years they couldn't remit their dividend, they couldn't have access to US dollars. And people will say, why would a young person, why would you like to go into business when things were that difficult? Now, why is Edo State dreaming of the next 30 years when things appear like confusing? Because there's always opportunity in crisis. That's the first point I would like to bring across today. And in crisis, there are opportunities. And when you look well, the departure of the foreign players in the space I was operating, or I started operating from, gave room to build a business and have quick growth. One. The second thing I would like to say here is the vision. So when I started in 91, I had this vision. This is where I want to be by 1995. Unfortunately, by mid-year 94, I was already at that place. So what did I do? I set a limited vision. It's called vision barrier, not good enough. Edo State should dream big. Your dream should not be limited by the restrictions you see today. That vision barrier led me to seek additional knowledge. Having read agriculture and now running a business, I went to the Lagos Business School in 94. There was a course called Creating the Future, the Competitive Edge of Change, similar to what you are trying to do. And I learned from Sir Christopher Kolade that 2 ways to create the future. 1, you invent it. 2, you manage today well. In Edo State, I think this can also be a great learning. By 2001, the flagship business had become the market leader. That was 10 years after I started. And it was like nice. And I was like, oh, I can become anything. In 2011, we launched a very bold vision. We called it by 8 by 16. Grow the business 8 times by 2016. It ended in a fiasco. We failed. Instead of achieving the growth, it was growth without control. Several of the flanks were left open. And for people who love soccer, when your wing backs, when they go on the attack, if there is a counter-attack, they will struggle. And of course, the opposition will have the opportunity of punishing you. So I included that because it's important to note that even when you have a vision and the vision is bold, you need to ensure your flanks, they are well protected, right? So that you are not talking about the future. People must live today. There has to be a seamless connection to the future. So talking about my journey to Edo State, it was in 2016. And again, in 2016, my company was already 25 years. And the same condition that existed when I started the business was that same condition in 2016. Acute dollar liquidity. The economy was contracting. And I knew that if we do not do something, the company was going to disappear. So what did we do? We also, again, as Edo State is trying to do, we took a long-term view. How would the next 25 years be? There will be generational transition, and we hired best-in-class consultants. It was very clear that our businesses must align with long-term opportunities offered by the external environment. We coined the term South Africa transformation. It was about moving our businesses from short cycle, light manufacturing business to long cycle, heavy agro-industrial investment that with capacity for value-added export, comparative import substitution, and more importantly, high barrier to entry. Because when you are thinking about the future, we picked 2 crops and we said we were going to invest in integrated value chain in cassava and oil palm. In addition to the businesses we had, certain businesses that were short term, we shut them down. Edo State actually is perfect for these 2 crops. Cassava can easily be grown here. Oil palm is a native of Edo State, right? So, and funny enough, 3 years prior or 2 years, the governor had invited me to invest in Edo State. When I did not come, he brought all the commissioners. He was then an advisor. We met at Southern Sun. We had lunch. I didn't take up the offer. Again, I want to point something out. That's a failure, is limitation of vision. 3 years later, here I was in the company of several investors that Mr. Chioke came from Lagos that we should come and invest in Edo State. He didn't know that Edo State was actually suited for the Saru transformation and journey for the next 25 years. Well, it took 4 years of pursuing the opportunities. I mean, if you know the governor, he's always dreaming. Oh, we'll do it like this. So we go like this. We do it like this. So we are like exploring, and he wanted the best. He wanted the best in class. So it took 4 years, several travels with the governor, Benin, Lagos, Abuja, Washington, D.C., New York.